Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to discuss the differences between since and for, and during and while, as we talk about time. I'll go over the differences between these two pairs of words and we'll look at examples and then also do a practice for ourselves so that we can get a better idea of when and how to use these words. Let's start with the pair since and for. When we use the word since, we are referring to a point in time in the past. So that point in time can be since last week, or since 4 o'clock, or since I was a child. So any point in time in the past. You can use this word since with a phrase like my childhood. Phrase just means that it's more than one word, but smaller than a clause. Or you can also use it with a clause. A clause means that you have your subject and a verb. So when you use the word since, you can use either a noun, a phrase, or a clause. The word for refers to a period of time. So it's not a point in time in the past, but a duration or period of time. For example, for 3 years, for an hour, for a long time, for an eternity. It doesn't matter, but we're not talking about a point. We're talking about a period of time. So we can use the word for past, present, or future. For example, for the past, I can say I worked there for 2 years. For present, I can say I have been working here for 2 years and I still work here. Or for future, I can say I will work here for decades until I retire. So again, the difference between since and for is that since is referring to a point in time in the past, whereas for is referring to a duration or period of time. Very quickly, let's compare the two. The first sentence says, she's been waiting for 2 hours. So she's been waiting for the duration of 2 hours. The second sentence says, she's been waiting since noon. So at what point did she begin to wait? Since noon. What do you think of this third sentence? Please fill in the blank with since or for. What did you guys put here? It is since. She's been waiting since 3 hours ago. If you put for, I think we are automatically tempted to use the word for because of right here, right? For 2 hours, for 3 hours. But the sentence says 3 hours ago. The ago is referring to a point in time, right? So it's not a duration of time. It actually refers to when she started waiting, since 3 hours ago. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave me a comment or any question and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. Before we move on to the next pair of words, I want to just wrap this section up by doing a short practice. Please fill in the blanks with for or since. And please pause this video for more time. Let's go over the answers. Number 1, I've loved dancing since I was a child. So from what point? Since I was a child. Number 2, we stayed in LA for 12 years and moved to New York. Number 3, that book was life-changing. I've been changed since then. That was a beginning point, so since then. And number 4, since 5 years ago, whoa, I have changed my morning routine. So from what point? Since 5 years ago, I have changed my morning routine. Number 5, I traveled a lot for all of my childhood years. That could be for 10 years, for 5 years, right? So for all of my childhood years. Now let's talk about the difference between the words during and while. During is a preposition. So the grammatical form will be during plus a noun or a noun phrase. So this just means that we're not going to use a clause. So again, we're going to use a noun like during class or a noun phrase, during my last class of the day. Phrase again just means that it's more than one word, but smaller than a clause. The word while is not a preposition, but it's actually a conjunction. So the grammatical form we're going to use is while plus a clause. If you forgot what a clause is, it's subject and verb. So for example, he called me while I was asleep. Right here is my subject and my verb. So the difference between during and while is that when you use the word during, you can't have a clause, you're just going to have a noun or a noun phrase. And if you're going to use the word while, you're going to have a clause. Let's take a minute to compare the two. The first sentence says, he called me during work hours. So after during, here is my noun phrase. And the second sentence says, he called me while I was working. So if you're going to use the word while, I need an entire clause. Here's my subject and here are my verbs. Let's take a minute or two to answer the two questions below. So please fill in the blanks with either while or during. And please pause this video really quickly for more time. So the first sentence, we're going to say during. During my time away from social media. So my time away from social media, even though it's a pretty long phrase, it is still a phrase. It is not a clause, right? There is no verb. So we have to use the word during. The second sentence, however, I'm going to use the word while. While I was away from social media. Because I have a clause right here. Here's my subject and here's my verb was. So we have to use while. While I was away from social media, I found time for other activities. Let's finish off this lesson with some practice. Please choose from during and while, and please pause this video for more time. Okay, let's review the answers together. Number 1, we are asked not to use our phones while we are under the company clock. Again, while, because we have subject and verb, so it's a clause. Number 2, during, that's a D. During the speech from the mayor, someone shouted angry comments. So the speech from the mayor is a phrase, it's not a clause, therefore I'm going to use during. Number 3, I had many jobs while I was studying as a full-time student. Number 4, during my studies in college as an engineering student, I met many professors who helped me network. Number 5, the manager asked me to minimize the use of my phone during work hours. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please like this video and consider subscribing to this channel. And please leave any comments or questions below, and I will make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I'll see you guys next time.